Hey everyone! What if the solution to one of the biggest problems in education, getting students to actually show up and succeed, isn't something you'd find in a textbook, but something you'd find in a community? Well, today, we're going to dive into a really powerful framework that's designed to do just that.
Right? We spend so much time focusing on what happens inside the school walls. But what if the real solution to huge challenges like student absenteeism involves a much, much wider circle? What if the real answer lies in a full-on community effort? So, let's start with the heart of the problem, student absenteeism. When students are consistently missing school, it's not just their own education that takes a hit. It creates this huge ripple effect that puts a massive strain on the entire school system. And you can really see that downward spiral right here. Poor attendance, well, that leads to lower grades and weaker social connections, which in turn seriously increases the risk of them dropping out altogether. And at the same time, for the school, all their resources are getting stretched thin just trying to play catch-up. It is a really tough cycle to break.
But what if there was a way to break that cycle? That's exactly where the Manitos framework comes in. It's a strategic blueprint, a real plan, designed to turn this whole situation around.
Now, the name itself is pretty powerful. Monocetos is a local term, and it means hard-working. That idea of persevering, of just not giving up. And the framework has two really clear goals. First, get student attendance way up. And second, at the same time, build positive, praiseworthy values in those students.
The framework itself is actually built on a 7-part acronym. So let's start by breaking down the first 3 foundational pillars. That's M, O, and N.
Okay, here they are: motivation, organization, and the value of responsibility. These first 3 steps are really all about building a super strong foundation, both within the student themselves and within the school's internal systems.
First up is M for motivasi, or motivation. Now, this is not about forcing anybody to do anything. It's about sparking a student's own inner drive, their personal commitment. Why do they want to come to school? Why do they want to succeed? This could be anything from one-on-one counseling to set personal goals, or maybe bringing in community role models to show them what's really possible. Next is O for organizasi, or organization. And you should think of this as the system's backbone. It's about way more than just taking roll call. It means detailed tracking, spotting patterns early, and having intervention plans ready to go the moment a student starts to slip. And, importantly, it's not about punishment. It's about a check-in, a way to offer support.
And rounding out this first part of the foundation is N for Nilai Tanggung Jawab, the value of responsibility. This piece is all about empowerment. It's about shifting the mindset so students see their attendance not just as something that happens to them, but as something they truly own. Maybe they help create their own attendance contracts or lead projects on the topic. It's about ownership.
Okay, so with that internal foundation all set, the framework now starts to build outward. The final 4 pillars, O, T, O, and S, are all about connecting the school to the wider community. So here they are: optimizing cooperation, attitude transformation, clear objectives, and finally, community synergy. This is where the framework really blossoms into this holistic, all-encompassing strategy. The second O here stands for optimizing cooperation, and this is all about building an unbreakable chain of partnership, getting teachers, parents, students, and even the district offices all on the same page working together. Imagine having regular, proactive parent-teacher conferences, not just when there's a problem, but to actually celebrate progress. T stands for attitude transformation, and honestly, this might just be the most ambitious pillar of them all. We're talking about creating a total culture shift within the school, an environment where discipline, character, and just showing up every day are seen by everyone, students, staff, everyone, as the absolute foundation for excellence. You reinforce this with everything from school assemblies to posters in the hallways. The third O brings us to clear objectives, because as they say, you can't manage what you don't measure. This pillar is all about setting specific, data-driven goals, or KPIs, for both attendance and achievement. It just makes sure everyone knows exactly what success looks like and how to track that progress along the way. And finally, S stands for Synergy Community, or Community Synergy. And this is really the ultimate goal here, combining all the strengths of the school, the parents, and the entire community. Think local businesses offering internships, for example, to create this whole ecosystem where student success is truly sustainable. So that's the framework. But a framework is only as good as its execution, right? So how does Monotos actually translate from a great idea
into real action and, most importantly, real impact. Let's take a look. Here's a quick look at how it breaks down. For motivation and that attitude transformation piece, the counseling and discipline units are going to take the lead. For organization, that falls to the attendance records unit and the teachers. And for that all-important community synergy, the Parent-Teacher Association is the key driver. See? Everyone has a clear role to play.
And here's the payoff. The challenge we started with was at-risk students and pretty inconsistent involvement from parents. The impact of Monotos, students become way more motivated and disciplined. And the school community gets stronger, with parents and community members actively supporting the mission. It really is a complete turnaround.
Ultimately, this entire Monotos framework rests on one single core philosophy. It's this idea that presence, it's not just about being there to get your name marked on a register. It is, like the quote says, the foundation for academic and character success. It's everything.
So, all of this leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. The Mano Satanas framework really shows what's possible when a school stops trying to do it all in isolation and truly partners with its community. Could this model of shared responsibility be the future of education? It's definitely something worth thinking about. Thanks for digging into this with me today.